I held on to words like this. I held on to scriptures like this. Why? Because I said, wait a minute, if I can build my belief, it said, according to my belief, so shall it be done unto me. So I want to ask you a question, and I want you to ask yourself a question. What I really want to accomplish, have I really been believing for it? Have I really written it down? Have I made it plain? Have I made it simple? Have I made it clear that those that see it will run with it? Some of y'all don't know, we're live on Instagram, we're live on Facebook. We are posting this to YouTube as well. What is the purpose? The purpose is to grow, right? We call this ambassadors of the kingdom. And why is that important? Why is that relevant to the conversation? It's important and relevant to the conversation because the whole message is that if you practice God's principles, you can participate in his promises, right? So that's the message, that's the focus, that's the goal. Sometimes it's life skills, sometimes it's business, sometimes it's sales, sometimes it's leadership. Today, we are focusing in on two very important topics of belief and leadership. If you can hear me loud and clear, type belief and leadership right in the chat below. Okay, if you can hear me, type belief and leadership in the chat below. Okay, so the first things first, let's go ahead and attack leadership, right? Excuse me, let's attack belief. So I want you to think about this. Belief, ladies and gentlemen, is really where it starts. And as I get into this training, I really want you to think about everything that you want to accomplish, everything that you want to achieve. Think about everything that you aspire to do. A lot of the times, if you ask someone who's successful, even when I look back at my own journey, people ask me a lot of the time, they say, man, if you could change anything about what it is that you did, if you could go back and do it again, what would you change? Let me tell you, if I could go back and do anything different, I would believe much bigger, much sooner. Okay. If I could go back and if I could do anything different, I would believe much bigger, much sooner. Why? Because belief, ladies and gentlemen, is where it starts. Belief is what's going to allow you to even go and do the action. It's what's going to allow you and propel you to go and actually do it, right? So I actually let me just show you, right? Because we're going to talk about belief in several different areas, and I'm going to show you guys so you can see it. Okay. Increasing your belief and becoming a better leader. You guys can subscribe on a YouTube channel. These always get posted. There is a Discord server. Right? So first, we're going to talk about belief in the company. Let's just say, again, this is not specific to any particular company, product, service. This is literally anybody watching. I'm just going to give you some examples, right, of some things that you want to first begin to believe in before anything. First, let's talk about the company. Okay, so as it pertains to building a business, as it pertains to making money, if you're going to do that, first, you're going to have belief in your company. Okay, whether it's a company that you've built, whether it's a company you're a part of, whatever vehicle that you've selected to take you where you want to go, first you must have belief in the company. Everybody type company in the chat, right? Everybody type company in the chat. Okay, so what is the track record of the company? How long has the company been in business? Is it a reliable company? Is it a company that'll still be here in 10 years? Is it a company that has integrity? Do the commissions get paid? Okay. You have to first look at the company. And guys, this is something that I was not willing to ignore. A lot of people will be excited by flashing lights. A lot of people will be excited about, great personalities and great social medias. And so they'll join or get started with a company. Well, the first thing you must vet, the first thing that you must build belief in is the company, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Does that make sense? Type of 777 in the chat box. You never want to ignore that part because guess what? You can believe in yourself. You can believe in your leadership. But if the company is not, in a place where it's still growing. Maybe they had great growth. Maybe it was a great company 10 years ago, but is it a great company today? These are all things that you must understand, you must be aware of. And professionals, we build belief or solidify belief in the company. You know, we don't skip that part, right? So company. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is belief in the products. If you're selling a product or service, it doesn't matter what kind of product or service that it is. Do you believe in it? Do you use it? And some of you guys are like, well, that's obvious. Of course, you got to believe in the product. No, there's actually a lot of people selling products they don't believe in, right? There's a lot of people selling products that they just, you know, want to get paid the commission on the product. They don't use the product. They don't get results from the product. They don't even buy the product, but they're selling the product, right? I would not advise you to do that. You got to believe in the product. You got to become a product of the product. You should be using your product as often as you can, right? Because when you believe in the product, guess what? You can now, you can't transfer belief to someone else in something that you don't believe in it yourself. Does that make sense? In order to help somebody believe in your company, you got to believe in your company. In order to help somebody believe in your product or service, you got to first believe in your product or service. Makes sense? Okay. Moving forward. The compensation plan, ladies and gentlemen. Do you believe in the way that you're getting paid? And let me tell you something. Belief in something also starts with an understanding of something. So let me tell you, when I was first, and I still do this today, but when I was first trying to, you know, come up the ladder as an entrepreneur, as a business person, et cetera, I was fanatical about my learning, right? I see my man, Jada Goats on the call. He kind of like me, man. He's, you know, studies the information, wants to understand the information, has a desire and a hunger to know the information. Okay. I see my dog Zach is on here too. He's the same way. I think he might have got that thing before me. Okay. But you've got to be the kind of person that has a hunger, that has a desire to learn about the company and believe in the company. Do you know the history of the company? Do you know who runs the company? Do you know the founder of the company? To have a belief in a hunger and a desire to understand the products. Do you know anything about the products that you offer? Do you know anything about why others should be excited about that? You don't have to know all this in the beginning. You don't have to know this day one, but sooner than later, yes, you need to understand that, right? The compensation, ladies and gentlemen, is something that you cannot ignore. Do you know how you get paid? Can I tell you that when I finally understood how I was getting paid, that's when I got fired up, because I said, wait a minute, if I do this, then I get this. Okay, let me go to work. Let me get this thing done. Okay. Now, mind you, it matters what kind of vehicle that you're in. A lot of us, we have $1 million dreams, but we're in a minimum wage vehicle. Follow me. You got to have the right vehicle that can take you to where you want to go. So if I was working at a job and I knew that I was only getting paid minimum wage, yes, there's going to be a cap on my belief because it can't take me to where I want to go. I can't exercise my belief. So I had to find a vehicle that was going to allow me to create freedom, that was going to take me to where I wanted to go. Does this make sense? Who's tracking with me? Type of 777 in the chat. Who's tracking with me? Okay. Next thing I want to talk about is the business model, right? Okay, the business model. So how are you making money? Ladies and gentlemen, can I just tell you, this is just me. I like freedom. Who likes freedom? Type freedom in the chat. I like freedom, right? But everybody's looking for something different. I wanted time freedom and money freedom, right? Maybe you want to make an extra $1,000 a month. I'm not here to create your standard on the call. Whatever that standard is, you got to have belief in the business model. Okay, is what I'm doing, is it conducive to the result that I want to achieve? Is it conducive to the success that I want to accomplish? I knew that if I was doing some sort of, you know, in any type of sales, I knew that doing a one-time sale might create money for me one time. I might be as good as my last sale. I might be as good as my last season in business. How many guys seen somebody make money, great money one year and made next to no money the next year? or made half that money the next year, right? So I had to have a belief in the business model, right? Because I wanted to have a repeat income, residual income. I know a lot of you guys are entrepreneurs. A lot of you guys want to go out there and, again, you want to build a business that will pay you in your sleep. You want to build a business that'll pay you for the rest of your life. Well, guess what? If you open up a lemonade stand and that's your business, I don't know that you can necessarily have that dream, right? You may have a limited belief in the business model if you're following me, okay? These are things that I had to pay attention to. I didn't skip these things because what happens is a lot of us, when we're amateurs, we dive into a business, we dive into an opportunity, and we do skip these things. And then we get a year into it and we figure out, wow, I didn't even know what I was getting started with. Does that make sense? Type of 777 in the chat. These are all things that I'm telling you to pay attention to as it pertains to building belief and becoming a better leader. Okay. The next thing, this is one of my favorites personally, one of my favorites. Okay. Who is leading you? What is the belief you have in your leadership team, your support team? This is vital. You cannot skip this. Okay? This is vital. You cannot skip this. I tell people mentorship is wisdom without the waiting, right? I see Satara's locked in with me. What's going on? Okay. I see, let's see, who else is on it? Right? Trevante is locked in with me. Mentorship is wisdom without the waiting. If you do something, if you do anything, a lot of people ask me advice, say, man, what would you change? What would you do? Here's what I want to do. Here's my game plan. I say, who's your mentor? Who are you learning from? Who is it that's guiding you? Who is it that's gone before you and already, avoided the pitfalls or went through the pitfalls so they can tell you how to avoid them? Okay. Mentorship is wisdom without the wounds. Right? A good mentor, ladies and gentlemen, will help you accomplish what they accomplish in half the time, but it depends who you're following. You cannot go past, right? Or it's not likely that you're going to exceed who it is that's leading you. Okay? So this was like number one out of all of the things that I've expressed, out of all of the things that I've kind of laid out. Are you following somebody who's going where you want to go? And more importantly, has gone, right? Where or has been where you want to go. Write this down. There's too many ants telling bees how to make honey. There's too many ants telling bees how to make honey. Right? So why would you take directions from somebody who's never been where you want to go? That's one of the most commonly made mistakes that I see people make again and again and again. They follow someone because that's their friend. They join something because that's the homie, right? They launch with something because they just launched it, but they didn't launch it because, hey, this person right here has something that I want. This person right here has what I need. They can take me to where I want to go. And maybe it's not that person directly, but is there somebody in that ecosystem? Is there somebody in that community that can guide you, that can take you where you want to go? Okay, the support team, ladies and gentlemen, never skip that. Okay, and last but not least, I want to really dive into this. Okay, everybody type it in the chat. This one is probably the most important. This one is probably the most vital. Just type it in the chat yourself. Type that in the chat, myself. Type that in the chat. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. This is the one that was, for most people, and I can even say for myself, was extremely difficult, was the belief in myself. Now watch this. Some of you guys say, oh, no, that's easy. Of course I'm gonna do it. Of course it's the belief in myself to get it done, right? And I wanna write this, I wanna give this to you guys because this is something I grabbed right before the call. Okay. And you guys can see it. I like to make signs. I like to actually laminate things. I like to put things where I can see them. And this is Matthew 9:29 says, then he touched their eyes and said, according to your faith, let it be done unto you. Right? So I love that because what does it say? It says, according to your faith. according to your faith, let it be done to you. Right? So I tell people a lot of the reason you're sinking is because of your thinking. It's about, do you believe in what it is that you're doing? Let me give you an example. Let's just say you're working a business. Let's just say you're building a business, you're promoting something, and you don't really believe in it. You don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in the company. You don't believe in the products. You don't believe in the services. You don't believe in the compensation. You don't believe in these things that you're promoting. It could be a nonprofit organization. It doesn't have to do with the money. It could be a concept, an idea. If you don't believe in it, you can talk to 100 people a day about what you're doing, but you don't believe. So when you don't believe, now they don't believe. Can I tell you something else? Wherever you go, there you are. Right? So if you don't believe in you, they won't believe in you. Why? Because the way they see you is how you see you. It's subconscious. Okay. So listen, here's what I understood. I said, wait a minute. If my thoughts are influencing my actions, I need to figure out how to influence my thoughts. Follow me. I said, if my thoughts influence my actions, I need to figure out how to influence my thoughts. So I began becoming fanatical about how to influence my thoughts. I started consuming content, right? That was going to raise my belief. Come on, we're talking about belief. I start listening to things that were going to affirm what I wanted to believe. I start saying things with my mouth, right? That affirmed where I wanted to go. Some of us are saying wrong words every single day. We say things like, girl, you know I'm broke. Right? We say things like, man, I ain't got the money to do that kind of, to go here or to go there, right? Change your language, ladies and gentlemen. Switch the things you're saying. Don't say I'm broke. Say, right now, I'm working on increasing my cash flow. Right now, okay, I'm working on increasing my capital, right? But don't say, oh man, yeah, I ain't got it, right? It's about what you're saying, right? Because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So in other words, you're speaking whatever is really, really inside, what's in your heart. But guess what? Through auto-suggestion, through what you say again and again and again, you can begin to believe it. How many guys know somebody that lies so much that they start to believe it? How many guys know somebody like that? Okay, you know somebody that lies so much, they start to believe the lie, right? Guess what? If people can do that for negativity, if people can do that, for something that's toxic or non-productive, you can do it to take you in the direction of where you want to go. You can do it to take yourself and accomplish all of your dreams, okay? It's about belief, though, belief. And let me tell this to you, for those of you guys with the big, big vision, this is one of the biggest ones that I've held on to, that has helped me, that has developed me, that has grown me, that has kept me focused and centered. And it's Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2-3. And it says, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie, right? Though it tarry, fancy word for wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Guys, what does that basically mean? Okay, that means that even if it's not happening right now, it's going to happen eventually, right? Once you write the vision, and my question is, have you written the vision? Have you wrote it down? Have you made it plain? It says that it cannot lie. The vision can't lie. And it says, though it waits, right? Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come and will not tarry. Guys, I held on to words like this. I held on to scriptures like this. Why? Because I said, wait a minute, if I can build my belief, it said, according to my belief, so shall it be done unto me. So I want to ask you a question, and I want you to ask yourself a question. What I really want to accomplish, have I really been believing for it? Have I really written it down? Have I made it plain? Have I made it simple? Have I made it clear that those that see it will run with it? Okay. These are things that I held on to. These are things that I was focused on and I would not let go of. I wouldn't let them go. Very stubborn when it comes to my belief and when it comes to my goals. I said, no, if I said it has to happen, it has to happen. Can I tell you that this is the separator between those that accomplish and those that don't accomplish, between those that achieve and those that don't achieve, between those that fail and those that have success. Belief, belief, belief. Okay. I said it's what you're speaking. I said it's what you're hearing, right? Who are you in proximity with? Are you in proximity with people that also believe? Or are you in proximity with people that are telling you, girl, you know them things don't work. Man, they got you too. Why are you doing that thing? You just need to get a regular job, right? Ladies and gentlemen, it's about your belief. Somebody type belief in the chat. I see a lot of great people on the call, man. Type belief in the chat. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. PJ says believe. Jackson says believe. Come on, man. Karim says belief. Sheila says belief. That's what I'm talking. It's belief. Belief. Zachmo says believe. Come on. Instagram, Facebook, what up? Okay. It is about your belief first and foremost. It's not about the script. It is about, yes, you have to gain some skill, but you have to believe first. So if you have any issues in your belief as it pertains to, again, I don't know what you're building, but maybe it's the company, maybe it's the products, maybe it's the compensation, the business model, the leadership team, maybe it's yourself. Write it down and say, rate yourself 1 out of 10. Okay. And do what you have to do to bring yourself to a 10 in every single area, ladies and gentlemen. Let me move forward. Let's talk about leadership. So listen, as I begin to get into leadership, let me just say this, and I could almost just sum leadership up on this training right here and close it out. The leader of one can become the leader of many. But if I can't lead myself, I can't lead any. Let me say it again. Leader of one, right, is the leader of many. But if I can't lead myself, then I can't lead any. A lot of us, we expect to build a team. We expect to attract leadership. We expect to, for people to follow us or want to follow us, but we can't even lead ourselves. We can't even show up consistently ourselves. We want others to be vocal. We want others to be excited. We want others to be fired up, but that's not the energy that we give. That's not the energy that we exude, right? Can I tell you that it starts with myself? It starts with what I'm doing. You want people to grind, you got to grind first. You want people to show up, you got to show up first. You want people to be consistent, you got to be consistent, right? Or are you hot and cold? Okay. You want people to show up again and again and again. That all depends on what you're doing. Why? Because write this down, more is caught than taught. More is caught than taught. People are doing what it is that you do, not what you say. Okay. So leadership, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about the example that you give. The best way to influence people, the best way to compel people, the best way for people to follow you is, guess what? What you're doing, not what you're saying, not the book that you give to them, not the audio that you give to them, which these are all important. But at the end of the day, they're going to say, hey, what is my leader doing? What are they actually doing with their feet? What do their actions say? Not what do their words say? Okay. Does that make sense? Somebody type of 777. Let me know. Does that make sense? Okay. It's an example that you give. It's an example that you set. Right? Because guess what? You can believe, but no matter what you're promoting, no matter what you are trying to grow, no matter what you're trying to scale, you can only do so much by yourself. I was very on purpose. I was very particular with this call. Why? Because you need to believe first. But if you want to grow, if you want to do something big, then leadership is very pertinent. You have to scale that belief across other people. You have to scale that belief, right, through what you're doing with a team, with an organization. And that pertains to leadership. You want people to hop on calls, you got to hop on those calls. Right? You want people to go out there and work every single day and show the plan. Guess what? You got to be working every single day. You got to show the plan. Okay. You want people to listen to audios. Guess what? You got to listen to audios. Right? You want people to stay in phase one. You want people to stay grinding. You got to stay in phase one. You got to stay grinding. You want people to show up every day with excitement and be present and consistent. You got to do those things. Does this make sense? Somebody type heard you in the chat. Somebody type heard you. Does this make sense? Okay. This is the pitfall for so many different people, because maybe you believe, maybe you're excited, but it's about leadership, and leadership is your example. Leadership is how you're going to grow. You can be a producer. You can be somebody that's making things happen yourself, but if you're not helping other people make that thing happen, let me talk some more about leadership. Okay, if you want to be a great leader, okay, and a great developer of people, you got to know how to develop people, right? Can you give somebody constructive criticism when they need it, or do you avoid that, right? Write that down. Can I give people constructive criticism when they need it, or do I avoid that? Can you help people grow? Can you pour into their cup? Because if you're going to pour into their cup, that means you had to pour into your cup first. If you're going to give them a book recommendation, have you read any books? Have you listened to any audios? Do you have any videos to send them on YouTube? That's only possible when you're growing yourself. It's the law of the lid. People can only go. You can only take people as far as you went. You can't take them past that. Right? This is why it's important to always be growing personally. Why it's always important to be pouring into yourself. Okay? Right? Do you know what to tell someone, right, when they're going through something? This is why I tell people to embrace the process. This is why I tell people that it's okay when you're going through something, when it's hard, when it's tough. Guess what? If it don't kill you, it makes you stronger. Write that down. If it don't kill me, it makes me stronger. Okay? Opposition is the sign that you're in position. What are you going to say when they pass you the mic? What are you going to say when they bring you up on stage? What are you going to say when they ask you your testimony? You know, it can't be no testimony without first having a test. When your team, when your mentees, when they ask you, man, what do I do in this situation? This is going on in my personal life. This is going on with my finances. This is going on with, my family. This is going on with my social circle. This is what such and such said about me. What are you going to say? Because a real leader, right, has been tried by the fire. A real leader has been through the valley. They've had ups, they've had downs, and they're able to speak to that. Okay. So this is why it's important as a leader to actually go through the process, to actually walk out the steps, so that when people come behind you, you can actually speak to those experiences. You can give them wisdom. You can give them counsel. You can be a confidant to those people. Why? Because you went through it yourself. Does this make sense? Type of 777 in the chat. Let me know, man. Is this making any sense? Right? I want to make sure you guys are tracking with me. Belief is number one. Leadership is number two. Okay. Can I tell you that a real leader, these are just principles. These are just concepts I'm giving to you as tips. A real leader will also take less than their fair share of the credit and more than their fair share of the blame. That's what a leader does. I said they take less than their fair share of the credit and more of their fair share of the blame. Why? Because it's about extreme ownership. A real leader, John Maxwell says, is not defined by their power, but rather their ability to empower others. It's not about me, me, me. Okay? It's not about me, me, me. A stage is for performing, but a platform is for empowering. It's about inspiring the lives of other people. It's about lifting other people up. It's about giving other people the spotlight, allowing other people to shine. That's what a leader does. A leader, right, is not the most egotistical person, the person that has to take all of the credit, the person that has to say, well, it's my fault that things are going right, but it's your fault when things are going wrong. This is how a great leader, a pinnacle level leader, actually thinks. Right? So when you look at the success of your people, now, don't get me wrong, if they don't do anything, then, I mean, there's nothing you can do. But at the end of the day, if they're not winning, you got to take some personal accountability for that. If you're trying to develop leaders and you see, wow, like I haven't developed any leaders, the people around me are not winning, that should be a reflection of you. That should be a reflection of your development. Why? Because you can't take others where you haven't gone yourself. It's about developing the leader within you, and it's about developing the leaders around you. Okay? So it's about working on yourself, but then it's taking it another step. It's gaining the skill to say, hey, listen, to hold people accountable to what they said they were going to do. Right? People need that. People need to be held accountable. People need somebody that's strong, right? Write this down. It'll help somebody. People follow strength and not weakness. Okay? People follow strength and not weakness. Are you a strong leader? Right? Can you lay out a standard and help somebody to meet the standard? Don't sell them short. Don't, cut people a discount. Can you say, hey, here's the standard. What have you done today to meet this standard? What have you done today that's brought you forward toward this standard? And I want to show you guys something here in a second, and I will wrap up on this. But has this been helpful? Somebody type yes or no in the chat. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys one last thing here on leadership. I'll tell you one last thing here on leadership, at least. Belief in leadership was the topic for today. Becoming a better leader, okay? Or building your belief and becoming a better leader. So listen, the truth about leadership is this. Who wants to know the truth? Somebody type, give it to me, man. Type, give it to me. I'll give you the truth about leadership. Here's the truth. Sometimes as the leader, you are alone, right? Sometimes as the leader, you are alone. You don't have the time to entertain the same conversations that kept you broke. So people will say you changed up. How many guys experience this? Okay. You don't take the easy route, so many won't travel with you. Your decisions are based on principles, not feelings. So some won't ask for your advice. Many will assume you're busy, so they won't send the invite. As a leader, you focus on the positive, so they will come around with their gossip. Okay? They will not come around with their gossip. You invest and save for the future, so they will not join you in delayed gratification. As a leader, ladies and gentlemen, you work and learn while they party. When they send invitations to their pity party, your mail carrier returns to center. Okay. All these characteristics of a leader remain the same no matter which stage of leadership that you are in. The only thing that changes is the style in which you experience these moments of being alone. Become a leader is the highest paid profession in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, if you got some value, go ahead and type value in the chat. Hopefully that was helpful. Building belief, becoming a better leader. Building belief, becoming a better leader. Two things I hope you will not forget. Two things I hope you will put focus into, you will put time into, you will study. You will build your belief in the products of whatever it is that you're offering. The compensation plan, ladies and gentlemen, your leadership team, the business model, the company, and ladies and gentlemen, your belief in yourself. Okay? I hope you will put time and energy into developing the leader within you, becoming an example, and ultimately developing the leaders around you. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, again, if you're seeing it on the replay, like, comment, subscribe, share this with somebody else. Calls are free. It's for anybody, no matter what you're promoting, no matter what you're selling, no matter what you're trying to build. And I hope this provided value to you. I love each and every single one of you, and there's nothing you can do about it. See you next Saturday.